according to StreamYard, we are live.
Yay.
Hello, girls. Those of you who are tuning in today live, and I know it takes a little while for you to creep in because when we hit go, it doesn't happen straight away into your feeds. And if you're joining us today a bit later on when you have 10, 15 minutes to yourself, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us on the recording. I'm super excited today to kick off what will be a series of mental health chats here at Sequins and Sand on the Facebook page every 5 or 6 weeks with the lovely Fiona Redding from the Happiness Centre. Hello, Fiona. Welcome.
Hi, Anita. Thank you. It's so lovely to be here with your bright, lifting space and your beautiful face. Lovely to be here.
It's a bit messy with my notes. I don't know about you, but if I can't see it, I find it hard to remember.
Yeah.
And then, all the brights of the new stock that's coming in. But today we're talking about something other than stock that drives our being, really, doesn't it? Which is our mental state and our mindsets. And that's why we've teamed up. Bit of a background, girls. We've got quite a few. Just let me know if you can hear us okay, because I'm not sure if the audio is fine. I can see the video, but not the audio. Just let me know. Give me a thumbs up. We decided to team up. Fiona and I have known about each other's businesses for quite some time now. We've been around the block a few years, haven't we, Fiona?
We have, yes.
And we recently touched base again talking about, I approached Fiona about helping out in the Summer Confidence Society membership, and then Fiona reached out recently saying, look, with lockdowns and everything, I'm really sensing with the people that I serve that this is not getting any easier. In fact, it's getting much harder. What can we do to help? So with that, this series was born, and today is our first chat about it. So thank you, Fiona. Fiona is a mindset coach and is based in Melbourne. Did you want to give the girls who don't know about the Happiness Hunter and what you do, Fiona, a bit of background info?
Yeah, okay. I would love to do that. So the Happiness Hunter basically was born of my own personal odyssey of self-discovery, I suppose you could say, around really having to turn my own life around. And so launched in 2013, and over the years, so my background was sort of business related. When I started a business that was really around helping, doing business consulting, and that kind of morphed into business coaching. And then I just started sharing with my clients what I was kind of applying and doing in my own life. And so now it's just kind of evolved into what I'm doing. So I basically really help people with their mindset. So our thoughts create our reality. Our belief system is actually what we believe is actually what we're going to experience in life. So if we can learn how to change our mind about things, we can change our life. And so I work with a really wide range of people who are really looking to improve the experience of their life, experience greater happiness, health, abundance. I work with a lot of people who've got businesses. I work with a lot of senior leaders. I work with just people who just want to have a different experience for their life, and doing that through a whole lot of variety of things through the Happiness Hunter. But really my mission is to let people know that, we all deserve to be happy people living a happy life. And there's a lot of things that we can do on a daily basis to make that happen. Like, it doesn't need to be a big, massive thing that we are embarking upon. It's just a simple acknowledgement and a decision that the way we're living our life might not be exactly how we'd like to be living it, and we can choose to do something different. So I just like to share that with as many people as I can, really.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, I've come to learn that myself over the years. And I think too, obviously now more than ever in the pandemic, maybe the cracks are widening, and things that we might have had going on or really buried or haven't acknowledged are starting to bubble up a bit more just through the stresses and strains of being in this COVID pandemic, and you're in Melbourne, so you've been, I think you hold the record on earth
World
for
record.
the number
I think
of
it's a world
days.
record.
Yeah, it is a world record, number of days in lockdown. So if there's anybody joining us from Melbourne, let us know, or from Victoria. Oh, and we've got Mariana. Hello, Mariana. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for saying hello. Nice to have you here. Yeah, so what have you noticed with the people that you serve at the moment, Fiona? What are some of maybe the changes that have swept through during the last 12 months, 2 years?
So there's been quite a few things. So we're in lockdown number 6 here in Victoria, and I know that New South Wales are really starting to feel the pinch now. And I've sort of said this the whole way through. So, like, in reality, life is a series of obstacles and challenges for us to overcome, essentially. Like, that is life. Life is an ongoing challenge and an ongoing test in a lot of ways. And COVID has been an opportunity to really highlight for us a lot of our weaknesses and where there are perhaps opportunities for us to do things differently, to understand ourselves in a different way, and to sort of kind of overcome some of those challenges. And one of my core philosophies really is that happiness is to be found in the overcoming of obstacles and challenges in our lives, not necessarily in the absence of them. It's like through the challenges is the opportunity for growth. So if we're looking at this global pandemic from that perspective, there's a massive opportunity here for us. And so what it's done is really highlighted for all of us at every level. So, you know, at the international level, at the political level, at the health system level, at the family level, at the business level, at our personal level, at every level, what is kind of not going so well. And it's giving us an opportunity to look at, well, if I'm not happy with it and I don't like the experience that I'm having, I actually have the opportunity to change that. But what I have noticed is that in the first lockdown, it was like this massive panic. You know, like if we look back in Australia, it really hit our shores probably February, March last year, that it was this absolute panic. Everybody just went into a bit of free fall meltdown. Like, people honestly didn't know. We did not know what was going to happen with the economy. We just didn't know. We didn't know what was going to happen with the health system. We didn't know how it was going to happen. So, but because we were in absolute crisis then, it was absolute crisis. So people rise up to a crisis in a particular way because it's for a short term. But then things kind of just kept going, and we were in Melbourne in a really long lockdown last year, and people just sort of stoically kept going, and cracks were really starting to appear for a lot of people. And this shows up in struggling in relationships, lack of self-care, perhaps coping mechanisms like drinking or overeating or watching mindless stuff on TV, or just not properly connecting with people because you're just tired and a bit over it, and what's the point? So that sort of happened last year. Then we came out of it, and what I noticed when we went into lockdown number 5 is that we actually entered into very, very new and uncharted territory. People were just over it. And so things that we'd been doing last year to maybe kind of keep our spirits a bit buoyed, like, you know, Zoom connections with friends and stuff like that, weren't happening. Like, people just kind of like, whatever, we've just got to get through this. Shut down. Lockdown number 6 is really, you know, I think what's different this year is the divisiveness. It was almost last year like there was a sense of a collective, we are in this together, whereas this year what's been shown is the real fractures that, and, you know, like there's no kind of covering them up, that it's very divisive. And what's happening is that we are buying into that and engaging in that sense of fear and uncertainty and calamity, and, you know, this is a disaster and there's a whole conspiracy or whatever it is that we're kind of buying into, that there's now a sense of us and them, however that is. But what's really important to recognise is if we are the creators of our own reality and we are experiencing that and engaging in that and buying in with that, that is telling us something about ourselves. And if we don't like that, then we have an opportunity to refocus that energy and attention, not on the outside world, but on correcting that and balancing that gap that is within us, so that we can experience what is going on in a completely different way. And as my teacher talks about, you know, it's really about adapting to this environment. And I think that's what almost in a way a lot of people have just given up. They're just like, this is pointless and what's the point? It's never going to end. And nobody knows the way out and stuff. It's like nobody knows the way out. Nobody knows the way out of this. Like people are guessing, they're looking at modelling, and nobody knows the way out. But you and I can actually take a lot of responsibility for ourselves and control the controllables today in what is going on with us. And I think that's what I'm really seeing at the moment is people are feeling like that's not a possibility for them. And it really is. And that's why I really want to reach out and, connect with you, because it's a really important message that we're sharing here, that if we are basing how we're feeling and our sense of happiness and well-being and security and everything in the world based on external circumstances, we're really not setting ourselves up in a very strong and empowered position. Whereas if we can say, look, what can I do to balance myself within this chaos? What can I do to find my sense of inner peace and calm with all of the stuff that's going on with and I can relate so deeply to all of the stuff that's going on for people where people are at and challenged. I'm a single parent. I'm homeschooling 2 primary age school kids. I've moved twice in the last year. I got absolutely smashed at the start of the first lockdown. I lost about 80% of my business overnight. I had to pivot. I had to get everything online. I am intimately acquainted with the challenges that people are facing, like intimately acquainted. And I work with a lot of people and I'm holding space for a lot of people during this time as well. So I know what's going on. And the only way that we're going to get through this well is by doing what we can within ourselves to look after ourselves and to make sure that we are operating at our best to deal with the chaos that's in our world around us.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, Anita.
In a nutshell, a very big nutshell, but one that we will crack today. I think there is so much wisdom in what you've talked about, and I think that really is the thing. And I'm going to go out on a bit of a limb here, but and I might sound a bit like the older generation, but it's like we do have to turn things back inwards on ourselves, and that's quite challenging. I think living in a busy society with lots of distractions, where to give ourselves time and space to actually look inward and really hard at ourselves, that's often the most confronting thing to do. As you say, aside from the fact that the pandemic is happening, and that's scary in itself, it's creating this context and this situation where, we can choose, but it's forcing us to look inward. And that is extraordinarily challenging, to find fault in ourselves and not look to others for blame and go, yeah, it's actually not about them this time. This is about me.
No, and that's right. And there is just such an opportunity here for us to turn that lens inwards. But we don't want to do that, because it's actually easier to say, oh, I'm upset because of this, or, I'm not coping because of this, that, and the other. And it's like, but that's just what's happening right now. This stuff is.
I'm losing you a bit on your internet, Fiona. Girls, is anyone finding that this is freezing? Just let me know if you can. If it's me or Fiona, I'm not sure what's happening.
All the stuff that's happening right. Have you got me?
No.
Am I here? Am I back?
You're freezing. Maybe the kids need to get off the internet for 20 minutes.
Hang on. Oh, I know. I've got some internet. I've got internet issues. Hang on. Let me just hang on.
That's all right. Don't panic. It's okay. Maybe it's everyone, putting a huge strain on the resources down there.
Okay, you got me now.
Your voice. Yeah, we've got you back. It's a little bit grainy, but it's better than before.
Yeah, so sorry, I was just trying to sort out the internet, but have you got me now?
Yeah, it's a bit of a delay. It's not brilliant, but
okay. Let me just hang on.
Sometimes the phone network. So we've got quite a few girls from Melbourne. Let us know if you're tuning in from somewhere else, where you're tuning in from.
Have you got me now? You got me now?
Yeah, got you now.
Okay. Sorry, I'm so sorry about that. I could see the internet was starting to go and I tried to hotspot through my phone. Anyway, so sorry. Where were we up to?
I think we probably need to go back to where do we start, I guess, is now time to come up with some helpful ways to move forward, to bring that lens back on ourselves and have a bit of a look, see how we might change. How do we go about doing that, Fiona?
So the first step that we really need to do is make a decision that we want to change, that we are willing to do whatever it is that we need to do to make out the experience of our life a little bit better. Like there's a decision that's involved here. So we need to say, okay, I'm not okay with what's going on within myself and how I am relating to the world and how I'm interacting with the world. I accept that there's all this stuff going on around me that I cannot control. What other things within my sphere of control that I can focus on? And the first one is really, we talk about kind of this idea of developing the identity of success. So going, like, what is it that I want for the experience of my life right now? Because regardless of what's going on, this is all of our lives right now. And I think for the last 12 months or so, we've been everything's been on hold, waiting for life to resume to normal. And I think the reality is that we're all kind of come to terms with now is we don't know what that new reality looks like. But ultimately, today, in this present moment, is our reality. Like this is our life right now. So what do I need to do right now? What does a successful life right now look like for me, given the circumstances that I'm in? And also, too, I think what's really important to remember is this concept of gratitude. Like here in Australia, we really have got no idea how fortunate we are in relation to how it is in the rest of the world, a lot of the rest of the world at the moment. And I don't think we've really understood that at a level for a lot of the time. We have been in a real bubble, which is fantastic. And I think we've been very fortunate. But the reality is Delta has caught up with us, right? So this is the world we're living in. What can I do today? Like, what does a successful life look like for me today? And, in the Happiness Hunter, we teach a concept called life integration. And I really talk about, being balanced within ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and socially. So if I'm looking at my well-being as the measure of success in my day, what does a successful day look like for me? If I'm looking at, nourishing my body, eating well, drinking water, setting daily goals for myself, doing some meditation, walking, just focusing on properly connecting with people, prioritizing what's important in my day, making time for the things that matter. If I look at that, all of those things are within my control. So if I can start to control those things and do the things that are important to keep me a well-being, then I'm going to be in a much stronger and more empowered position to be responsive and fluid and flexible and adaptive and open in a way to what is actually going on in the external world. Whereas if I'm just looking at that external world and being unhappy because of what I'm seeing, then I've got to recognize that what I'm seeing in the external world is somehow a reflection of what's going on within me. And the more I can balance myself on a daily basis, the better view or the better vista I'm going to have the experience in the outside world. So on a daily basis, there's some really simple things that we can be doing. And I think we often don't do them because we think we don't have time or we don't really understand how important they are. But if we do these things, basic practices on a daily basis, we make massive shift because we are lifting our own energy, which in turn is going to shift the experience that we have with the outside world.
Okay. So the first thing is to decide. And then there are
make a plan.
Then there are things that we can do daily within our control, within our world, our home, wherever we are, our situation, that can improve our own well-being. And I guess self-care is a term that's often used as well, isn't it? Things that we can do to look after ourselves. So you touched on a few of the different aspects that you teach in the Happiness Hunter. But so are these things that we do every day relating to those areas? Can we break those up and break them down and focus on certain areas of our lives?
Yeah, so basically that idea of self-care, I think we often think about it as being a bubble bath or having a massage or something like that, right? But actually self-care is caring for yourself. Self-care is doing the things for yourself that are caring, that are going to help nurture and support and grow you. And I like to think about, a lot of self-care requires quite an element of self-discipline. And self-discipline is actually the ultimate act of self-love. Because if you can be disciplined in yourself, in the things that matter, you're going to prove something to yourself. You're showing something in yourself. You're saying, I am worthy of taking the time to do these things that are good for me, that are good for my physical body, that are good for my mental body, that are good for my emotional health, which are good for my sense of feeling of connection and contribution. Like if I value the quality of my life, I'm going to make the time and the effort and do it even sometimes against my will to do those things that I know are going to make me feel better. So there's lots of stuff that I sort of talk about, you know, in terms of the work that we do with students of the Happiness Hunter. But I really think over the years, I've really distilled it down into some core foundational practices. And that is really being intentional at the start of the day, like just really deciding how you want today to go. So like we thought, you know, today is a great day. I'm really excited about what is coming forward for me today versus, oh my gosh, getting out of bed, pressing snooze. Like you're just setting a very murky intention for the day, and then you kind of set yourself up for like what I like to call as a sludgy morning. You know, those mornings when nothing kind of really goes. And if that's the intention that we're setting at the start of the day, we're setting ourselves up on not the correct trajectory. We get to choose that. All of this stuff has got nothing to do with anybody else. It's 100% within our own control. Like we call it the circle of responsibility. So being very intentional, setting your daily goals. So what is it that you are going to do today? Like how much time have you got? What are your priorities? What are you going to achieve? What does today look like? And being really honest with yourself about what is possible for you to achieve today. And being flexible to that, but also not giving yourself an escape card. It's like if I've said at the start of the day or the night before that this was important, then I need to find a way to make that happen. Gratitude, being grateful. So always being grateful. Like there's always something to be grateful for. That actually shifts the way that we look at the world and the way that our mind starts to look for things. And if we're coming at it from that glass half full rather than the glass half empty, gratitude helps us just look at things differently and experience things differently. And it makes us feel good, like when we're thinking about things that we love or that we're grateful for. It lifts our energy. Meditation. So this is kind of really a non-negotiable. Meditation, if I look at all the things that I've done over the years that really helped, that changed my life, definitely meditation. It helps us slow down the way our thinking. It helps us understand the way we think, the way we operate. And it also gives us a space to really recognize that our thoughts are not who we are. I think a lot of the time we actually believe what we think. And when we meditate, we can start to just see our thoughts as being thoughts and make a different decision as to whether or not we're going to engage with them. Walking. So there's another core practice of the Happiness Hunter is actually getting outside every single day, rain, hail or shine, and going for a walk. It does something for us. It balances us. It works at some physiological level. It balances us in every aspect. It clears our mind. It makes us feel better. Get out in nature. It's good for our physical body. So there's walking, drinking water. So we often don't drink enough water. It's such a simple thing to do. And if we can drink enough water, we're going to notice a very big difference. And then the other really core practice is an end of day review or an end of day reflection to just check in with yourself. You know, how did I go today? What worked really well today? Like what didn't go so well? You know, where was I really challenged? What would I advise somebody else who is experiencing that same challenge? You know, what am I most looking forward to tomorrow? So at the end of the day, it's like I like to call it bookending the day. So we set the day up properly, and then we check in with ourselves at the end of the day. What we start to find in a very short space of time is that the day starts to run completely differently. We think about things differently. We approach things differently. We're able to kind of course correct ourselves much more quickly before things go too far off track and the wheels fall off. And what it means is that when we've done those core foundational practices at the start of the day, stilling our mind, moving our body, just clearing our mind, getting clear, setting intention for the day ahead, it's not a big ask of yourself. What starts to happen is that you start to build something within yourself that didn't exist before. It's incredibly powerful. So that's what I meant. There's just some very key core things that don't take a huge amount of time. And also too, anybody that says that they don't have time, I say that's completely fine. I understand. I know that. What you need to do is start to go to bed half an hour earlier and get up half an hour earlier. You're not trying to find extra time in the day. You're creating a new pocket of time. So you're creating new habits as we create new habits. And the wonderful thing is about habits is about becoming consistent. What starts to happen when we do things consistently is that we start to see results. And what happens is those results are then what motivate us to keep going, to continue to build that self-discipline. It's important that I do this. There's no room for negotiation here. This is what I'm actually doing. Reflecting back at the end of the day, If you haven't done it, that's fine. Okay, tomorrow's a new day. We start again. So
Start again.
every day is a brand new day. And every day you wake up, you leave yesterday in yesterday and you just focus on today. You're not worried about tomorrow. You're just focusing on today. And this is the gift of Corona, really, for me, is that it's forcing us to live in the present moment. It's forcing us to be present to where we are today, because we don't actually know what's going on tomorrow. We never did, but we thought we did. And now we know. Now we really don't, you know.
And we tried to control all of that out there, right? By programming this, that, and the other and controlling. Whereas now what we're talking about, I love that, is more self-control. It's more self-discipline, and not in a harsh way. These are what you've talked about are really simple things, but they're a mindset shift. They're an approach shift where we set an intention at the day. And none of this takes a huge amount of time. I'm sorry, I'm ruthless now. I don't accept that I don't have time. It's you're choosing not to make it a priority.
You're not making it a priority.
You're not making it a priority.
But that's when for me personally, I find that's where it's really interesting in the work that I do with people, because the question I want to know is why. If you're saying it's important and you're not happy with what's going on and you're not doing it, you're self-sabotaging, why? Let's explore that. And that's when we bring in practices like journaling and coaching and all of that other stuff. I mean, what I shared with you now, like, they are the core basic practices, but there is so much other stuff that we can do on a daily basis that completely transforms the experience of our life really, really, really quickly, even in the midst of a global pandemic.
Yeah. In the chaos, this will anchor you. I love that. So what we're saying is turn the lens in on yourself, take a look at yourself, live in the moment, live for the day, set your intention at the beginning of the day, and then set out to self-care with some very simple things that are easy to do, that are within your means. Even with a lockdown situation, they're still very achievable. And I love that you've, because this is the piece I guess I unconsciously do it. But at the end of the day, when I put my head on the pillow, it's deep breathing and it's, okay, now what did the day unfold for me? What did I do well? What did I not quite hit the mark for? Don't berate yourself that you didn't get that. I think that's the other thing with goal setting. That's a whole other section. I don't believe
we should do a session on that. We should do a session on that, actually.
We should.
But it's about progress, not perfection. It's about who you become along the way. And like, success ultimately is about liking yourself and trusting yourself to do the right thing by yourself, not for any other reason, but that you care about the quality of the experience of your life. And the relationship you have with yourself is going to be what determines the quality of the relationships you have with other people and your business and yourself and your body and your life and your friends and all of it. So it's like, let's work on this relationship with ourselves to learn to really love and accept ourselves, to be compassionate towards ourselves, but not to let ourselves off the hook on the stuff that we've decided is important. It's really important.
I love all that. God, my heart's just skipped a beat when you said all of that, because that is so true. And I think for many women, like, you know, you said you're a single mom, you've got kids at home, you've got all those other responsibilities. And so often we don't put ourselves on that list of priorities, on the to-do list, and certainly not at the top of the list, right? That, even for me personally, like, to put myself at the top of the list, I struggle with that just about every day, you know. But I think that's the other challenge for us as women in midlife, that we've got all these other conflicting priorities, but to make our relationship with self a number one priority, girls, it absolutely has been. It has to be. It's like, put the oxygen mask on yourself and then help somebody else. That's exactly what it's all about. But I understand that's a different change in how we believe, you know, our mindset for ourselves.
Yeah, because ultimately, like, it's like enlightened self-interest. Like, one of my core visions for my life is to be an excellent role model for my kids, right? Yeah. So what does an excellent role model do? It shows them how to live a good life. So having that kind of vision in my mind for the last few years has really influenced my decisions. So sometimes my needs actually come above my kids, because if I'm not feeling good and doing what's important for me in my life, I'm not actually showing up as my best self to support them in the way that they want to be supported. But also too, what am I showing them if I'm not placing my needs as important? Because ultimately this is my life. I need to value myself in my life and to allow myself to feel important and worthy of my care and attention and time. That's important. That's not saying I don't care about other people. In a way, that's actually saying ultimately I care the most about you in a way, because I want you to have the best version of me that you can possibly have in your life. And that if we're all operating from that space, we've got clear boundaries that we know and that we can not enforce, but that we can hold those boundaries, and we can help let other people know these are the boundaries. This is how it is for me. People will respect that. Yes. You'll respect yourself, and they will actually ultimately respect you more anyway. So what we need to treat ourselves the way we would like other people to treat us.
And probably how we treat others. We're much, we treat others a lot better than what we treat ourselves often. So, yeah.
We speak to ourselves. We'd never speak to our worst enemy about that. So this is about ultimately, for me, like really, when it really boils down to with the happiness hunter, like ultimately, if I really am honest with myself about what the mission and all of that is about living with inner peace, like just about that sense of peace within ourselves. And that's it. Like, to me, that is the ultimate in success in life, because nobody can take that from you. That belongs to you. Yeah, you've built that within yourself. And as you are that, that is actually what you are going to generate and create in the world around you anyway. So, yeah, it's
I love that. That is so powerful. And it's powerful in its simplicity, and it's powerful in its doability, right? We're not saying go out there and spend thousands and thousands on X, Y, and Z, because, that's just band-aiding. All of this is within reach and within means here and now, no matter where we're living.
It's equally accessible to all of us all of the time. We just need to make the decision, and then we need to, on a daily basis, keep making that same decision. Like, it's a daily decision that needs to be made. Otherwise, you'll forget it. And we all know that's happened before. Yeah. And I think what happens when we're driven, like this, so intrinsically driven by this, that to me, intrinsic motivation, that internal motivation, as opposed to that extrinsic, which is more based about success measures, like external measures, that's actually the space where the true transformation takes place, and it takes place and is permanent, because we're actually starting to be driven by something within us that is nobody can take from us. We're building that muscle within.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk a lot about that here. I've got a private Facebook group, Women 40 Plus Self-Love, Body Confidence. And within the membership, the Summer Confidence Society, we focus so much on this stuff, because I totally agree with you. This whole notion that we need to work on ourselves and what comes from within, that enormous well within us, to be able to draw on that and not rely on those external hits of whatever it is that soon fade away, buying that new dress or getting that new car or whatever, they will fade. But what drives your joy and what sustains your inner strength, that's what really matters. I love this. And I think we've got so much to talk about in our next chat. And, it's already, been 40 minutes, and it's just, for me, it feels like 5 minutes. I don't know if it feels like that for anybody else and for you, Fiona, but it's just been extraordinary. So from here, girls, what we're going to do is Fiona and I will just distill down some of those key points and put that in the discussion thread for you, so you've got something to come back to, because this is chat number 1. In a series, we are committed to you and to each other to come through every 5 or so weeks. Going forward, it might not always be on a Friday. It might be on a Wednesday. Just a bit of a heads up. So towards the end of the month, probably from the 1st of next month, we're going to be doing 2 lives a week on Sequins and Sand, and Fiona will probably come in on a Wednesday in some of those sessions. So change of day. And also, if you've got some ideas on what you would like us to talk about that would help you on your journey of self-discovery, then please let us know for your happiness. We would love to know, wouldn't we, Fiona?
We would love to know. We would love to know. And just also too, like, you're not on your own, and the human experience is universal. And if you're experiencing something, I'm telling you, somebody else is experiencing it, and you being able to share that and be a little bit vulnerable, a little bit courageous, and stepping forward and going, this is where I'm struggling, putting your hand up to ask for help, the universe will rise up to meet you, and you're going to get the answers that you're seeking. So definitely, like, share. It's important. It's important that we share the experience that we're going through.
Absolutely. And that's that whole community concept, right?
Yeah.
Now more than ever, we need each other.
Yeah.
And I know we're sick of the government people saying we're in this together, and then we see evidence of not in it together. But we can choose to be in it together for ourselves.
We just need to focus on ourselves and ignore what anybody else is doing, because all that does is sap the joy from today and sap the joy from this moment. So it's not that we don't care. That's just that we're choosing not to focus our attention and energy on that. We're choosing to focus it on things that we can change and influence that make our life a better experience.
Yeah. And that's how we can center in the chaos. I love that. Create calm in the chaos. So we've got a few comments here, because I know you can't see them, Fiona, from where you are, but Jenny Knox has tuned in and saying this is been a great discussion. Thank you, Jen. You're a wonderful supporter of both of us. And Alana's been in as well, or Alana, sorry if I've mispronounced your name. And Phoebe's saying she can't wait to watch this on the replay if it's available. That's a really good point, Phoebe. This will be available. All lives that are posted here in the Facebook page are... Oh, that's my niece. Sorry, Talia. I should have put my phone on silent. So it's always going to be available. When you go onto the Sequins and Sand Facebook page, as you would have to tune in today, there's a main image at the top. Underneath that, there's a few words, and I think one of them is more. And if you click on that, you'll see videos, and all of these sessions will be in there in the video session. If you can't find them in the general discussion area, that's where to go to find all the video bits. So this will definitely be available for you to watch later on, over and over, because there's so much in it that you'll probably want to watch it a few times. Very good. All right, so we'll put those comments. We'll let you know what those key points are, ladies.
And if anybody's got any comments or questions, just put them in the comments below, and I'll check in and I can respond to you. So if you've got any questions, or you're welcome to reach out to me. But just comment below, and I'll chime in and answer any of your questions that you've got.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Fiona. And girls, she means what she says. Fiona is a woman of her word, and she genuinely cares. So please reach out and put you first, and let's create some calm in the chaos.
Yep. And we can do that. If we're all doing it, we're going to create big pockets of calm, because our energy is going to lift each other's energy as well. So we have a lot of power, even though we might feel quite powerless at the moment. If we just got to tap into that power.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. Brilliant. Okay, so we'll bow out now from the live. We'll focus on putting some comments in the discussion, and we'll see you in about 5 weeks' time or so for the next one. Thank you,
Wonderful.
Fiona.
Thank you, Anita. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye ladies. Take care.
Bye.